She had been left in the dirt before anyone even looked her way, broken and alone in a city that no longer cared for the weak. They had humiliated her in front of everyone. Soldiers shouting orders, rulers watching with cruel amusement, the crowd echoing their derision, as if her very existence was a joke. Every step she had taken had been a mistake, every word she had spoken twisted into mockery. Her body ached, her bones ached, but it was the shame that burned deeper than any wound. She was small, fragile, unnoticed by those who claimed to protect, yet marked by fate to be hunted. Alien patrols scoured the skies above, their glowing eyes scanning the ruins, their weapons capable of ending lives in an instant, their presence a constant shadow of fear. She crawled into alleys, avoiding soldiers whose orders were to silence dissenters, and alien scouts who searched for any sign of weakness, their cold voices echoing across the steel and glass ruins. She whispered her own name to herself, as if saying it aloud could remind her that she still existed, that she still mattered. Hunger gnawed at her belly, exhaustion threatened to drag her down, and every instinct told her to give in, to let the darkness claim her. Yet even in the deepest pit of despair, a spark remained, faint and fragile, flickering against the cold. She did not know it yet, but someone was watching, someone who refused to let the world's cruelty define her. He found her where no one else had dared, a human who had tracked rumors of the broken girl through war-torn streets and alien-infested ruins. He did not point, did not laugh, did not see her as a mistake. He knelt, offering water, warmth, a hand that did not push her away. At first she recoiled, expecting mockery or betrayal, but he stayed, patient, silent, giving her space to breathe. Slowly, trust grew, fragile as the first leaves of spring after a harsh winter. They moved together, silently, through landscapes of destruction and decay, where alien patrols hovered like dark omens and human soldiers hunted anyone who stepped out of line. Each step was a test, each encounter a challenge. She was beaten, bruised, abandoned by those who had once promised protection, betrayed by someone she thought was an ally. Alien fire scorched her side, human treachery left her bleeding, and for a moment she believed the world had finally succeeded in breaking her entirely. But he never left. He carried her through the rubble, shielding her from the cruelty of both species, refusing to accept that she could be abandoned. Slowly, as they ran through fields of burning metal and skies streaked with plasma, her own strength began to awaken. The pain sharpened her senses. The betrayal taught her vigilance, and the constant threat of alien hunts ignited a fire she had never known. One night, under a sky torn by alien craft, she fell into his arms, trembling and silent, and whispered that she had been left to die so many times she had almost forgotten what it meant to live. He held her close, saying nothing, letting the silence speak louder than words. In those moments, the bond became unbreakable, not just of survival, but of understanding, of shared grief and shared hope. They fought together, facing alien war machines that tore through buildings, soldiers who saw them as rebels, and the whispers of those who had given up long ago. There were moments when she wanted to give in, when exhaustion pressed her down, when betrayal cut so deep that tears blurred her vision. But he reminded her with every act of defiance that she was not alone, that even the smallest human flame could ignite a fire capable of changing worlds. Then came the moment that would define everything. In the heart of a battlefield, surrounded by both alien and human enemies, she was struck down, the result of a betrayal so sharp it cut through bone and spirit alike. The alien curse burned through her chest, and for the first time, she felt herself slipping beyond the edge, feeling death's cold hand brush against her cheek. The world seemed final. She heard the whispers of all who had left her, the laughter of those who had mocked her, the cold judgment of rulers who had claimed her weak. But he refused. Against impossible odds, he lifted her, dragging her through fire and acid rain, across ruined cities where hope seemed to have died, and into the safety of hidden valleys and abandoned bunkers. There, he stayed with her, nursing wounds that were more than flesh deep, helping her find the courage to rise again. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, she began to heal. Not just the cuts and bruises, but the soul that had been shattered. She remembered the first day he had found her, and realized that it had changed everything, not because she had been saved, but because she had been believed in. And in that belief, she found power. Hidden, dormant, human, but undeniable. The alien scouts who had once hunted her faltered when they saw her rise. Her resolve was a force they could not comprehend, a human defiance forged in pain, betrayal, and relentless hope. Every step she had taken in fear became a step of purpose. Every wound she had suffered became a scar that marked her as stronger, sharper, unbroken. In the climactic confrontation, facing both alien overlords and human traitors, she unleashed a power born not of technology or magic, but of humanity itself. Courage, empathy, and the bond she had forged with the human who refused to let her die became a weapon that the universe could not ignore. Alien forces fell, human betrayals crumbled, and the truth of her existence became clear. She was never weak. She had been hidden in shadows to teach the world that even the smallest, most broken human could rise to shape destiny. As silence fell over the battlefield, scorched earth and alien wreckage around them, she stood, battered and bruised, but unbroken. She looked at him, the human who had carried her when she could not walk, who had believed in her when no one else would, and for the first time in her life, she smiled. The lesson was clear. Hope was stronger than fear, compassion more powerful than cruelty, and the bond between humans, born of struggle and pain, could conquer anything, even alien empires and human treachery. She was not just a survivor. She was proof that humanity, even at its lowest, held a fire that no darkness could snuff out. And as she took her first free steps into a new dawn, she realized that the world might break humans, but it could never break the human spirit.